What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. You know, we're really trying to grow the channel. And as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, always liking and commenting everything. So the goal of my channel is to really help you guys catch more bass. And today we're gonna kind of dive in and talk about my glide bait selection. You know, so just recently I dropped a video about my favorite big, soft plastic swim baits, inline swim baits, big ledge type plastic swim baits. And we got a few comments on there that said, hey, I'd love to hear about your glide bait selection. So that's kind of where this video came from. So we're gonna dive in, check out my glide baits. I got 2 boxes worth of glide baits here. So we're gonna kind of dive in and check them out and let you guys know which ones I like for certain situations. You know, there's a few different brands and a few different baits in here, but it really gets tricky. I mean, the glide bait market or the glide bait following is really unique, and there is a bunch of different baits, bunch of different styles, so many different options in the glide baits, and it's really specific on what a lot of these guys do. But for me, I try and keep it pretty simple on my glide bait selection, so I really just like using a couple different style baits. And we're going to dive into all that and show you a few of my favorites this week. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and let's jump in and start talking about some glides. Some glides.
Glide to the left, glide to the right.
Oh, you're going to glide to the left? Which one should we start with? Should we start with the Big Daddy or the little guys? Let's go Big Daddy. Let's start with the Big Daddies. Big Daddies. So this would be my box that is, I mean, these are all big baits, but these are the ones that I feel like are a little bit bigger than my other box here. So actually we'll start with the one that's still in the package. So this one I haven't even thrown yet, but I picked him up at a show this year. And I'm really excited to get him out, but that is the Phony Frog. I've heard a lot of good things about this guy, and I'm excited to get him out, but I picked him up at a tackle show this year. Man, it's a pretty looking bait, but he doesn't exactly fit in my box. It's a little full right now, so that's kind of why he's been sitting in the package. So, all right, let's dive in. Let's start with this big guy. I believe this is the Biggs custom baits. I think this one's called the Denali. I don't know specific model names on these. I'm not the most educated on the names of these glide baits, but this is the biggest glide that Biggs custom baits makes. And I really like that brand, Biggs custom baits, glide baits, just because I feel like the action is really good on them. But this is a big gizzard shad, so I actually have 2 of them in here. You know, you gotta always have 2 of each bait. I mean, I know it gets expensive on these glide baits, but for me, it's just kind of a rule when I'm buying tackle. You got to buy 2, because if you catch fish on the first one and end up losing it, then you could be in a situation. So like I said, this is a big, heavy bait. This is about the biggest glide that I'll personally throw. I know there's guys that'll throw upwards of, you know, 12, 13, 14-inch baits, but I think this is a 9-inch bait. But it is a very wide bait, big bait. But the thing I like about the Biggs is they really chop side to side very well. And that's a lot of times what I'm looking for in this big glide bait. And their color schemes are awesome. So, you know, obviously this is more of a shad, silver, flashy style color. So I'm gonna throw this in that little bit dirtier, dingier water, and he's gonna be flashing around and maybe catch some really big fish on them whenever they're feeding on those big gizzard shad. So next up in here is, this is another cool bait. This one is the Texas Swim Baits Gizzard Glide, I believe is what this one's called. So it is, you know, obviously a gizzard shad color. It's got a little bit of blood down at the bottom, but the cool thing that I like about this one is it's, you know, it weighs about the same as some of these other guys, but the fall rate is a lot higher. So you can get this bait down deeper in the water column really quick. I mean, he sinks very fast, and you can get him down and keep him down. So if you're looking to fish a glide over some of those deeper brush piles, drop-offs, stuff like that, this bait really sinks and gets down there and works just like you want your glide bait to work at a much deeper depth. And we'll kind of dive into that as we go along. You know, I got some of these different baits that I actually add some lead to, add some weight to help them get down and do that. But this one comes straight out of the package just like that, and swims perfectly and gets it down there deep. And you know, certain situations, that's exactly what I want right there, is getting those baits down deeper. Man, it's like a game of Tetris trying to get these to all fit in here and the lid to close. Especially these big ones. They're just too big. So if anyone has any glide bait storage tips, I'd love to hear what you got. So this guy here, this is a cool one that, you know, I've caught quite a few fish on this, and one of my buddies turned me on to this. This is the Fish Everything paperweight, but it worked good. I caught some fish on it, and then I kind of screwed up on my cast and hit it against the dock, and I broke this tail off right here. So I just kind of got it super glued together right now. And it still works, but it doesn't quite have the same action just because there's a little added extra weight back there. But this is a really good one, and you know, these are hard to find. So a lot of these glides are a little tricky to find right now, especially. This here is another Biggs. I think this is the 7-inch Biggs, and just a good bone color. You know, I like to have a couple different options as far as my colors. I really like throwing that style bait, and we'll kind of dive into that more as we get to the ones that have been used a lot more. That's all these are here. Again, I was talking about the color patterns of the Biggs. This is that same style bait, but it's more of a golden shiner color. So this is excellent for those big Florida bass that are feeding on the golden shiner. So that's why I have him. Haven't got to throw him yet, but excellent, excellent color scheme. This is a little bit smaller version of that Texas Gizzard Glide. This one isn't quite nearly as heavy, so he rides a little bit closer to the surface. I don't nearly like him as much as the bigger one, but he's riding around in the box. So probably the most popular or easily accessible glide that I have in here readily available is going to be the Chad Shad. So this is the Spro version of the Chad Shad. So they kind of partnered up with the original KGB to make this. This is a resin version, a plastic version, so it's readily available and mass produced. But these are excellent baits. You can go pick these up off the shelf. They chop very well. They got some really cool color schemes. You know, got more of like a matte finish to them than like a glossy paint job, but some excellent color choices. And these are an excellent glide if you're a beginner getting into this. You know, you don't want to drop $150, $200 on a bait. You can pick these up for a decent price and have a good bait to get out there and really learn about glide bait fishing. Come on. It's gonna be impossible to get these back in the way I want them. So, all right, let's move on to the little bit smaller style. And this is like I said, this is the ones that I probably use the most. This guy right here, actually I just got these. I haven't got to use these ones yet, but these ones are pretty popular here of late, the clutch glide baits. Now to me personally, I don't really like how it looks. I mean, it just seems very boxy compared to you know, a much more realistic looking bait like the Biggs we were talking about. I mean, I feel like this one is shaped better and looks more like a shad than this boxy thing. But I know a lot of guys have been catching them on this as of late, so I picked up a couple to try and just see what the hype is all about. But basically this box is full of a bunch of different Biggs. So I got a bunch of different colors. Actually, I got a couple different sizes as well. So you can see, I think the one over here is the 6-inch version, and this one is the 7-inch version, I believe. So you can kind of see the size difference. And I really like throwing, I mean, this size here is a perfect size to catch really any size fish in the lake. I mean, a 2-pound bass can eat that shad right there, no problem. So you're not necessarily limiting yourself on the size of fish you can catch. You can throw this style bait and still catch, you know, numbers of fish as well as big giant fish in the lake. Now I got one in particular here somewhere I wanted to show you guys. There it is. So this is what I was talking about when I was kind of weighting those. This one has caught a lot of fish, and I caught a lot of fish, and you know, even in the tournament season last year on this bait. You can see he's pretty beat up, but I like to add a little weight, whether you wrap it to the shank of the hook or put some strips along the top of the bait here, but it really helps him get down deeper and fall faster. That way you can get him down to whether you're fishing those ledges or fishing, you know, deeper points or brush, something like that. But this guy right here, this is one of my favorites, and like I said, I caught a lot of fish on him last year. It's a beautiful color scheme, but that is also one of the bigs. So we got some more of the bigs in here. Here's another, this is a smaller version of the phony frog. Haven't got to throw him yet, he's still brand new. And then we start getting into more of your unique soft style baits. So this is the G flag. This is like a soft plastic jerk bait that acts just like a glide bait. So very unique bait. This is, I see this excelling on like a herring style fishery, wherever, you know, I haven't got to thrown it on a herring style fishery yet, but I see it excelling on those type of lakes where they're feeding on those long, slender bait fish like a herring, or even maybe a skipjack on the Tennessee River. And then we have, what is this one? This is the fish arrow. What is this called? The DRT riser, I believe. So this is a, you know, it's more of a wake style bait, but it's very similar to a glide bait action. I believe that's what that bait called, I forget. Anyway, that's an excellent option there. And then we get into some more of your, these are kind of my older style glide baits that I got when I was first getting into it, like the Storm Arashi, and this is a Gangcraft jointed claw. But to be honest, those don't get much use anymore. Once I've got into, really the bigs have taken over my #1 choice when I'm picking up a glide bait. But there's certain situations where I'll go out and just kind of play with all these and just see what they're all about. So hopefully you guys learned something from my glide selection. You know, this is, these are as much kind of toys or collector's items for me as they are fish catchers. So it's kind of cool to just kind of collect them. You know, a lot of these baits will run just like limited edition runs where, you know, there's only a handful of these baits made at a time, or really for a year at a time. So, you know, a lot of these picking up that there's kind of a big market for them after the initial sale. So a lot of these I pick up just for that reason. And then a lot of them are just proven fish catchers, and I absolutely love throwing them, catching those big fish. So hopefully you guys learned something from this. Let me know in the comments down below if you got any glide bait storage situations, any suggestions, anything you got about glide baits, drop them in the comments below. But appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys next time.